Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a whole stack of global headlines. We're going past the noise, really trying to find the core insights, maybe some surprising facts, and definitely the deeper context behind what's going on.
Exactly.
Our mission, like always, is just to cut through that feeling of information overload. We want you to leave feeling genuinely well-informed, ready to connect the dots out there.
Precisely. And we'll be synthesizing a lot of different information today, everything from scientific breakthroughs, to geopolitical moves. We'll try to connect things that might seem unrelated just to show why these developments really matter.
Yeah, getting that bigger picture.
Our aim is clarity, really, encouraging critical thinking and hopefully sparking a few of those aha moments for you, giving you a comprehensive understanding of today's world. It's complex.
So settle in. We've got, well, quite a range today. From Mars rovers sending back these just incredible pictures.
Amazing.
To the tricky dance of global trade wars, and even some pretty fascinating science updates that honestly might change how you think about life itself.
Yeah, some fundamental questions being asked. So today, our deep dive, will first navigate the cutting edge, science, space exploration. We'll go from new theories on life's origins to humanity's ongoing quest to understand Mars and beyond.
Okay.
Then we'll venture into the high-stakes world of geopolitics. We'll dissect some escalating trade tensions, evolving diplomatic scenes, and, of course, crucial developments and ongoing conflicts around the globe.
And as we connect those threads, we'll also try to unravel some surprising insights in tech, delve into the forces shaping global economics, market shifts, challenges for developing nations.
Yeah, the economic piece is huge right now.
And naturally, we'll touch on critical updates in environmental issues, public health. Because, at the end of the day, these are the stories that affect all of us, doesn't matter where you are. So, yeah, let's unpack this. All right, let's kick things off with something really quite mind-bending, something that challenges our fundamental understanding of, well, existence, maybe.
That's not putting it too strongly, actually.
There's this radical new hypothesis making waves. It's called assembly theory. And it seems to want to redefine how we understand the origin, the complexity of life itself.
Yeah, it's really fascinating because it introduces a completely new way of looking at biological complexity. So instead of focusing only on the traditional Darwinian idea, random mutations, natural selection,
Right, the classic stuff.
assembly theory proposes that life's complexity can be understood more like a sequence of assembly steps. Think of it like building with Lego bricks. You need a certain number of steps in a specific order to make something complex.
Okay, I like the Lego analogy. So it's quantifying complexity by the steps it takes to build something, not just how many parts it has.
Exactly. Not just the components, but the minimum number of steps needed to build it from simpler, more fundamental parts.
So it's almost suggesting there's a kind of a cosmic instruction manual, or maybe a built-in preference for complexity, rather than life just being pure random chance.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. If this theory gets traction, what does that mean for how we see life? Randomness versus something else.
Well, yeah, that's the core of it. It proposes this inherent directionality in the universe towards increasing complexity. Which raises a really important question. Could complexity itself be some kind of universal constant? Something the universe actually prefers to build? It contrasts pretty directly with natural selection and genetic mutation, which, have always emphasized the random processes, the environmental adaptation.
So how does it explain that initial emergence? Why do complex things form at all?
Well, the idea is that out of all the, near infinite ways particles could combine, only a very few result in these highly complex functional systems we call life. It suggests the start of complex life isn't just a random walk. There might be underlying physical principles making it more favorable or efficient to form things like proteins or cells than we thought.
Okay, that sounds almost too neat, maybe. For the messy reality of evolution we usually hear about, what's the pushback? What hurdles does it need to clear?
That's a really good question. And there is pushback. Critics argue it stretches beyond the current empirical evidence. They might say it, intentionally or not, kind of downplays the known drivers of evolution, mutation, selection, which are, incredibly well understood.
Right, we have tons of evidence for those.
Exactly. So scientists are looking for more proof. How does this assembly bias actually play out in real biological systems, not just in theory or models, but if it gets validated, if it overcomes those hurdles,
Yeah.
the potential impact on astrobiology, on the search for extraterrestrial life, it's immense. It could give us total new ways to define and detect life out there. We might shift from looking just for specific chemicals
Like water or methane?
to searching for patterns of assembly, signs of inherent complexity, maybe in exoplanet atmospheres or on surfaces. It really opens up how we might imagine life beyond Earth.
Wow. Okay. From the cosmic down to the cognitive, let's shift gears. Closer at home, brain health. There's some genuinely exciting research coming out about lithium and its potential role with Alzheimer's disease.
Indeed. There's new research now pretty robustly linking lithium deficiency to an increased risk, maybe even the onset of Alzheimer's, and some groundbreaking studies, especially from places like Harvard Medical School.
Fiber, okay.
They're suggesting lithium has this remarkable potential, not just to treat, but maybe even reverse some Alzheimer's symptoms and the processes tied to brain aging.
Reverse. That's a strong word.
It is, but that's what the early research suggests. And it's incredibly significant because lithium isn't some, new experimental drug. It's already used, well understood, for treating bipolar disorder. We have decades of safety data.
So, okay, what does this mean for daily life then? Could this simple element, something already out there, really be a game changer for one of the toughest diseases we face?
It really makes you think about the hidden connections in our own biology, doesn't it? If you connect this to the bigger picture, it just underscores this intricate, delicate balance of micronutrients in our overall health, especially for the brain.
Right.
What seems like a minor deficiency, lithium in this case, could potentially have these profound, cascading neurological effects down the line, directly impacting longevity, cognitive health. It suggests that maintaining proper levels, even of trace elements like this, might be way more critical for fighting brain aging and neurodegenerative diseases than we realized. It could open up new avenues for prevention, maybe early intervention through diet or supplements.
That is a powerful thought for our own health.
Yeah.
And it's a good reminder that discovery isn't just happening in traditional labs, right?
Hmm?
Sometimes the biggest contributions come from, well, everywhere. Citizen science, for example. Let's talk about Snapshot, Wisconsin.
Oh, this project is a fantastic example, truly a testament to what, large-scale distributed collaboration can do for science. Snapshot, Wisconsin just celebrated 10 years.
10 years.
And in that time, they've collected an astounding 100 million trail camera photos since 2013.
100 million photos.
Yeah.
That's astronomical. How did they even process that?
Yeah.
And it's not just like nice pictures of deer, is it?
No, far from it. This is serious scientific data. Its success relies heavily on grants from places like NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
NASA funds trail cams. Interesting.
Well, it ties into Earth observation, ecosystem monitoring, and crucially, it relies on this massive statewide network of volunteers across Wisconsin.
Okay, so the volunteers are key. What do they do?
They play a vital role. They classify the species they see in the photos. They meticulously monitor wildlife populations, deer, yes, but also elusive things like snowshoe hares, even critically endangered whooping cranes.
Wow.
And this data, generated by citizens, feeds directly into a whole range of scientific studies. It's significantly advancing wildlife research in the digital age. It just showcases the immense power of citizen science, how individuals, just by volunteering some time to click through images, can contribute to massive data collection and, our broader understanding of ecosystem health, conservation. It's a brilliant model.
Okay, from the forests of Wisconsin now, let's zoom out again.
Yeah.
Way out to the red sands of Mars. Our robotic explorers are still out there sending back incredible stuff, pushing our understanding of the cosmos. Let's check in with Curiosity and Perseverance.
Curiosity is still going strong. Can you believe it? Entering its 14th year on Mars.
14 years. Amazing.
And it recently sent back this really unique image, July 26, 2025. It captured its own tracks on Mars, like a literal cosmic breadcrumb trail across the terrain.
Imagine looking back at your own footprints on another planet. That really is like a cosmic breadcrumb trail.
So what's its current mission? What's it looking at now?
Its current mission is focused on exploring these fascinating, they call them boxwork formations. They're within Lower Mount Sharp and Gale Crater.
Boxwork formations. Okay. What are they hoping to find there? What's the significance?
Analyzing these intricate structures is really significant because it could help scientists figure out if microbial life might have existed on Mars during a period when the planet was actively drying out.
Ah, during that transition period.
Exactly. These formations are like fossilized plumbing systems almost. They tell us not just that water was there, but how it behaved. Was it slow percolation, evaporation, specific chemical interactions? This research could potentially extend the known period of Martian habitability.
So life might have hung on longer than we thought. Possibly, even as the planet turned into the arid place it is today. What's truly fascinating here is just the sheer level of detail these rovers are giving us. Not just geology, but subtle clues about Mars's atmosphere, past water activity, all embedded in these rocks. It really raises the question, what other secrets are these Martian rocks still holding about the planet's ancient past?
And its partner, Perseverance, the newer rover, it's not being left behind, right? Setting back stunning visuals, too.
Absolutely not. Perseverance recently captured one of its sharpest panoramas ever from Mars, specifically from a region they're calling Outbreak. It's breathtaking. A high-resolution mosaic made up of 96 individual images all stitched together. It showcases these remarkable geological formations, like a unique float rock, a rock that looks like it was moved there by some powerful natural force.
Wow.
And the panorama gives this expansive view, distant hills stretching up to maybe 40 miles away, just an incredible sense of scale. And for anyone curious about the real color of the Martian sky.
You see those bluish pictures sometimes?
Right. These images highlight its natural reddish-orange tone compared to the enhanced blue you sometimes see in edited versions. It gives a clearer, more authentic picture of the environment. And all this data is vital, not just for understanding Mars's geological history, how the terrain was formed, but also for meticulously preparing for future human missions.
Right, scouting landing sites, potential resources.
Exactly. Identifying safe landing zones, potential resource locations. It's all part of the long game.
Now, our journey into space isn't just about robots. It's also about the incredible humans who push those boundaries. We've got some news from NASA about an astronaut retiring, a really storied career ending, and also some pretty significant changes to the rules for private space stations.
Yes, NASA astronaut Barry Butch Wilmore has officially retired after a remarkable 25 years of exceptional service with the agency.
25 years, that's dedication.
His career really stands out. He logged an impressive 464 days in space, including long stints on the International Space Station, or ISS, and he showed incredible versatility, flew aboard 4 different spacecraft.
4 different ones. Which ones? The Space Shuttle Atlantis, a Russian Roscosmos Soyuz capsule, Boeing Starliner, and SpaceX's Dragon. Wow, that's quite the resume. And beyond just being in space, he did 5 spacewalks, totaling an astounding 32 hours outside the ISS, doing crucial maintenance, assembly work. He's also a decorated U.S. Navy captain, graduate of the U.S. Naval Test Pilot School. Just an incredible record.
Wow, 464 days, 5 spacewalks. Makes my commute seem positively pedestrian, doesn't it? He probably packed more into a few spacewalks than I do in a year. It's truly incredible, the dedication, the bravery.
It really is.
NASA's new chief is shaking things up with the rules for private ones. Yeah, radically rewritten the regulations for private space stations. It's a significant policy shift. Okay, big deal then. Yeah. What are the practical implications, especially for this growing commercial space industry? It's a monumental shift, yeah. It significantly impacts how commercial space stations will be developed, and crucially, NASA's own strategy for acquiring future orbital platforms. There's this ongoing, pretty intense debate between NASA and Congress about the future of the current ISS, which is nearing its end of life.
It can't last forever.
And what replaces it? This rule change reflects a major shift in how space exploration is being financed, managed, moving much more towards private sector.
Okay, from our neighborhood in space to the very edges of our solar system, we're getting these incredible glimpses of the unknown, too. Clues about what might be out there, beyond our cosmic backyard. Like this mysterious interstellar comet, 3IATLAS.
Yeah, NASA's Hubble Space Telescope got the sharpest image yet of this comet, 3IATLAS. And what makes it so unique, so profound, is that it originated entirely outside our solar system.
An interstellar visitor.
Exactly. An incredibly rare chance to study pristine material from another star system, a true wanderer from the void. And there are coordinated efforts happening right now with other telescopes, James Webb Space Telescope, TESS.
TESS? The Planet Hunter.
The Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, yeah, probably using its unique spectral abilities here. And the Neil Gehrels Swift Observatory, which is great for rapid response. They're all trying to get detailed insights into its chemical composition.
And it's not just unusual, it's a record breaker too, isn't it? Fast.
Oh, incredibly fast. Its estimated diameter is tricky, ranges quite a bit, maybe 320 meters up to 5.6 kilometers, so potentially quite substantial. But the speed, it holds the record for the fastest comet ever recorded, zipping through space at an astounding 209,000 kilometers per hour.
Wow. That's hard to even comprehend.
It really is, and observing it greatly helps NASA's broader mission of tracking near-Earth objects. Understanding things from beyond our system gives us a fuller picture of the whole dynamic celestial environment we live in.
Meanwhile, back closer to home, on the lunar front,
Yeah.
another nation is making very clear statements about its ambitions in space.
That would be China. They recently conducted a crucial test of a lunar lander, and their stated goal is very explicit. Put the first Chinese astronaut on the moon before 2030. That's a highly ambitious timeline.
Before 2030?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where do they do this test?
At a site in Hebei province in China. It was specifically designed to simulate the moon's challenging surface conditions. The test involved comprehensively verifying the lander's ascent and descent systems under complex scenarios. It's a critical milestone for their manned lunar program.
So the race is definitely heating up again.
Absolutely. What's fascinating here is how multiple nations, not just the U.S. and Russia of old, are pushing the boundaries of lunar exploration. If you connect this to the bigger picture, it signals a rapidly accelerating global space race, driven not just by scientific discovery anymore, but increasingly by strategic influence, national prestige, and the desire for a significant presence beyond Earth.
Okay, let's bring it back down to Earth now. To the complex, often tense world of global economics, geopolitics. And what better place to start than with escalating trade tensions, particularly involving the U.S. and a critical rising power like India?
Yeah, we've seen a significant escalation there. Former President Donald Trump imposing additional 25% tariffs on India, bringing the total levy on certain Indian goods to a staggering 50%.
50%? Wow. And this is linked directly to India buying Russian oil.
Explicitly linked, yes. It's a clear attempt to exert economic pressure over that issue. India, perhaps predictably, has strongly condemned these tariffs, called them unfair, unjustified, and unreasonable.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Is this primarily about global energy security, or is it more of a calculated geopolitical chess move, trying to squeeze Russia indirectly?
Well, India, for its part, staunchly defends buying Russian oil. They say it's absolutely essential for their domestic energy security, and they argue the decisions are based purely on market factors, especially the favorable pricing they get from Russia right now.
Can't blame them for looking for a good deal, I suppose.
And Prime Minister Modi has even sent a strong public message about protecting India's farmers, implying the country would bear the economic burden to shield its vital agricultural sector. Moscow, meanwhile, predictably, asserts that sovereign states have the right to choose their trade partners, and they've pointed out what they see as Western double standards, given some European nations still buy Russian energy too.
Right, that point always comes up. So it raises an important question about how effective sanctions and tariffs really are in changing state behavior, especially when countries like India prioritize their own domestic energy needs and strategic autonomy. If you connect this to the bigger picture, it just underscores the complexity of this multipolar world we're in. Traditional alliances are being tested. Nations are increasingly balancing their own interests against external pressures. And could this push India and Russia closer?
Potentially, yeah. Strengthen their economic ties even further, focusing on areas like rare earths, aircraft parts, railway development. We've already seen high-level visits. India's National Security Advisor, And then there's the very real threat of a 100% import tax on foreign-made semiconductors. That's huge.
100%. But I heard there were exemptions.
Crucially, yes. Some major firms, like Taiwan's TSMC, that's Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, they've been granted broad exemptions from these higher tariffs, which, interestingly, actually led to gains in their stock value.
Oh, okay.
But these tariffs are taking effect just as broader economic pain is surfacing globally. There are concerns they could push import taxes to levels not seen since maybe the Great Depression, potentially disrupting supply chains, increasing consumer costs significantly.
So it seems the art of the deal is alive and well, maybe?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to trying to bring jobs and manufacturing back home, or at least encourage it. Apple, for instance, seems to be responding directly to this pressure.
Indeed. Following significant pressure from the Trump administration increased domestic manufacturing, and amid these ongoing tariff threats on iPhones, Apple announced substantial plans. They're investing an additional $100 billion in the U.S.
$100 billion, on top of what they already invested.
Right, bringing their total U.S. investment to a staggering $600 billion. And this includes concrete plans, like starting to manufacture all iPhone and Apple Watch cover glass in Kentucky. It's a tangible shift in their supply chain, moving towards more localized production.
So the pressure works, it seems, or at least influences decisions.
It clearly illustrates how geopolitical pressure, even just tariff threats, can directly influence major corporate investment and manufacturing choices.
Okay, moving from trade wars to actual conflicts. Ukraine remains a critical global focus. There's been a flurry of diplomatic activity lately, particularly involving former President Trump, suggesting maybe new paths for peace, or at least negotiation.
Yes, former President Trump is reportedly planning to meet with both Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky soon. Potential locations mentioned include the United Arab Emirates.
Okay, that would be significant. How's the Kremlin reacting?
Quite unusually, the Kremlin described initial talks with U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff as constructive and highly productive. They even hinted at what they called an acceptable offer from the U.S. regarding a potential settlement, which signals a possible opening in what's been a very entrenched conflict.
Constructive, acceptable offer. That sounds surprisingly optimistic, given how brutal and long this has been. What's Ukraine's stance? How do they see these potential talks?
President Zelensky has certainly expressed openness to talks aimed at achieving what he calls a dignified peace, one that ensures long-term security in Europe, restores Ukraine's territory, but crucially, he continues to simultaneously seek robust Western military support.
To strengthen their hand at the table.
Exactly. Believing military strength provides the best leverage in negotiations. But despite this public optimism, despite the constructive talks, expectations for a swift ceasefire on the ground, they remain muted.
Why is that? What are the sticking points?
Moscow's preconditions for a settlement reportedly including significant territorial concessions and Ukraine's unwavering demands return to pre-2014 borders. Security guarantees, they continue to create significant fundamental obstacles. They're still very far apart on the core issues.
Right.
Plus, sanctions on Russia's trade partners are still being actively considered by the U.S. and allies as leverage. So economic pressure remains a key tool. What's really fascinating here is this delicate, almost contradictory dance. Public optimism versus the deep-seated complexities and, frankly, irreconcilable demands on the ground.
Yeah.
It raises an important question. Can a genuinely comprehensive, lasting peace deal actually be brokered if the key players are still fundamentally misaligned on critical things like territory and security guarantees?
And despite all the sanctions and diplomatic efforts, we're still seeing the conflict rage on. Stark reminders of its cost.
Unfortunately, yes. That twisted wreckage you see on Ukraine's front lines in Kharkiv, it's a grim visual reminder. Despite wide-ranging sanctions, they haven't completely stopped Russia's military actions. And furthermore, Russia has publicly accused Ukraine of actively derailing prisoner swap efforts.
How so?
Claiming Kyiv is refusing to take back 1,000 of its own soldiers currently held by Russia. Moscow's chief negotiator, Vladimir Medinsky, confirmed this accusation. It just adds another layer of complexity, of mistrust to an already dire humanitarian situation. Highlights challenges beyond just the military fight.
Okay, shifting to another deeply troubled region, the Middle East. Tensions around Gaza, Israeli settlements, they continue to escalate. There are some puzzling reports coming out of Gaza about Hamas's finances amidst all the devastation.
Observers are indeed puzzled by what seems to be Hamas's secret system for managing to pay government salaries, despite Gaza's extreme isolation, the catastrophic damage from the conflict.
How are they doing that?
That's the question. It raises serious questions about how they sustain financial operations, administer services in such a devastated, internationally blockaded environment. It suggests a resilient, if very opaque, network is still functioning somehow.
Meanwhile, Israeli settlement plans in the West Bank are drawing sharp, widespread international criticism, especially regarding long-term peace prospects.
Israel is reportedly moving forward with plans to dramatically expand what are widely considered illegal settlements under international law in the occupied West Bank, specifically targeting the E1 area east of occupied East Jerusalem.
E1. Why is that area so significant?
This particular move has drawn growing, vociferous international condemnation because critics argue it would effectively bisect the West Bank, isolate Palestinian communities, make a continuous Palestinian state virtually impossible.
Many, including the EU, the US, and Germany, have issued strong warnings, saying such an expansion would destroy already moribund prospects for a two-state solution. And these plans come amid a broader Israeli crackdown in the West Bank, rising arrests, demolitions, and increase in settler attacks, all raising significant concerns about the humanitarian impact on Palestinians and just further inflaming regional tensions.
And the humanitarian situation in Gaza itself sounds beyond dire. Aid organizations are using
Incredibly strong language.
It is. Doctors Without Borders, or MSF Médecins Sans Frontières, a highly respected group, they've gone as far as condemning aid distribution in Gaza as orchestrated.
Lethal crowd control tactics used against desperate civilians.
This isn't just a humanitarian crisis anymore. It's a stark portrayal of what happens when aid systems completely break down in conflict. Horrific consequences.
Truly horrific. When desperation leads to lethal outcomes, it's a complete system failure.
And this whole situation has sparked widespread global debate, hasn't it? Affecting perceptions of Western principles, international law.
Absolutely. An Al Jazeera piece recently highlighted how the West's principles fall apart over Palestine, citing cases like the French political analyst François Bergot. He was acquitted after being charged with supporting terrorism for simply sharing a Hamas statement on social media. It shows how contentious, how legally ambiguous free speech and expressing solidarity can be in Western nations right now.
Right.
And furthermore, a multi-continental survey, 5 nations, 3 continents, including Spain, Greece, Colombia, revealed a significant majority of people are now calling for an end to weapons sales to Israel because of its military actions in Gaza.
A majority across continents.
Yes. Spain, Greece, Colombia showed the highest support for completely stopping sales. It reflects a growing global public sentiment, which raises an important question about the disconnect between that widespread public opinion and current geopolitical policies on conflict and humanitarian crises. If you connect this to the bigger picture, it highlights a growing global demand for accountability from all sides and a serious reevaluation of arms trade ethics when civilians are suffering on this scale.
Beyond these specific conflicts, we're also seeing broader global diplomatic shifts. And closer to home, in the U.S., some interesting domestic political news hinting at deeper currents.
On the diplomatic front, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov recently delivered some sharp criticism against the OSCE. That's the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. It's a key intergovernmental security group.
Right, it's supposed to facilitate dialogue.
Lavrov described it as increasingly acting as a tool of Western influence. He advocated for a polycentric and multipolar future with a distinct Eurasian-centric security architecture. He urged Europe to fundamentally reassess its relationship with Russia, move away from being solely aligned with the U.S.
So Russia pushing hard for that multipolar world order.
Continues that push, yes, where power is more distributed, not centered on one bloc.
And on the other side of the world, in Hiroshima, Japan, during the 80th anniversary of the U.S. atomic bombing, there were significant protests.
Yes, hundreds gathered near the atomic bomb dome, voicing strong opposition to nuclear weapons, and notably, the ongoing U.S.-Japan war alliance. They expressed deep concerns over Tokyo's recent military buildup, proposed nuclear sharing plans with the U.S.
What was striking about the official ceremony?
It's particularly noteworthy that during the official commemoration, while Japanese dignitaries unveiled a new victim list, spoke of peace. None of the speakers explicitly mentioned the United States as the nation behind the 1945 attacks.
That's delicate phrasing, I suppose.
It raises an important question about historical memory, national narratives, and ongoing geopolitical alliances. What's fascinating here is that palpable tension between solemn remembrance of past tragedy and the present-day strategic realities of military alliances, especially concerning nuclear proliferation in a volatile region.
Brazil's President Lula is also making waves globally, right? Especially responding to those U.S. tariffs we talked about, calling for a united front.
Yes, Lula called for a critical BRICS leaders meeting Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, specifically to collectively respond to Trump's tariffs. His argument is clear. A small country alone has no bargaining power against the U.S.
Taking on the unilateral approach.
Exactly. He explicitly criticized Trump's approach, saying it aimed to dismantle multilateralism by forcing one-on-one negotiations, which he argues leaves smaller countries at a severe disadvantage, undermines fair global trade.
Shifting to Latin America, El Salvador made a highly controversial move regarding presidential power, raising alarms about democracy.
Yes. El Salvador's Congress approved constitutional reforms that effectively eliminate presidential term limits, allowing indefinite re-election.
Indefinite re-election.
Okay.
How's that going down?
It sparked immediate, widespread condemnation from opposition members, international human rights groups, even though President Bukele himself has remarkably high approval ratings because of his aggressive crackdown on crime.
Right. The crime crackdown is popular,
But concerns are being raised about human rights violations, arbitrary detentions, a dangerous concentration of power in the executive branch. People are drawing comparisons to Venezuela and Nicaragua, where leaders have consolidated power indefinitely. It's a significant, troubling development for democratic norms, civil liberties in the region.
And in a less dramatic but still notable diplomatic U-turn, Uruguay had to reverse a decision about its passports after international pushback.
Yes, the Uruguayan government reversed its decision to issue passports without birthplace information, after concerns and restrictions were raised by key nations, Germany, France, Japan specifically.
Why did they remove birthplace info?
The new format had removed the birthplace field, replaced nationality with nationality citizenship. It led to significant problems for Uruguayans trying to get long-term visas, even basic entry into those countries. So now they're offering free replacements for affected passports, a swift correction to a diplomatic snag.
Back in the U.S., the Treasury Department is targeting Mexican cartel members. And one name on that list is quite surprising, highlighting links between crime and pop culture.
The U.S. Treasury Department imposed sanctions on 4 individuals associated with the Mexico-based Cartel del Noreste, a notoriously violent group. What's particularly striking, the list includes a popular hip-hop artist known as El Macabelico.
A rapper, sanctioned for cartel ties.
Yeah. These individuals are linked to drug trafficking, extortion, money laundering, and the rapper allegedly used his music royalties to launder money for the organization. It just highlights the complex, often unexpected financial networks these criminal organizations use, how deeply they can infiltrate different sectors of society.
On a more positive note for U.S. relations,
Yeah.
congratulations were extended to Jamaica.
Yes, the U.S. extended warm congratulations to Jamaica on its 63rd Independence Day, specifically highlighting the enduring bonds, robust security cooperation aimed at disrupting criminal networks, and economic development efforts to promote investment, mutual prosperity. Underscores a continued partnership in the Tribune.
Still in Mexico. A migrant march is continuing despite the controversial arrest of a prominent activist, shedding light on immigration policy challenges.
A significant migrant march, started in Chiapas, Mexico, is ongoing. Heading toward central Mexico, they're protesting policies hindering legal immigration status, the slow processing of asylum applications that leaves so many in limbo.
And this is happening even after that activist was arrested.
Yes, the march continues despite the recent controversial arrest of prominent activist Luis Garcia Villagran. He was arrested on alleged human trafficking charges, but critics say it's politically motivated, an attempt to silence him. The whole situation highlights the continued impact of past U.S. pressure on Mexico to curb migration, which often pushes migrants towards more desperate measures, riskier routes.
And for something completely unexpected, from the U.S. government itself, the Library of Congress website, custodian of historical documents, had a rather peculiar coding error.
Indeed. The Library of Congress website holds official records, including the U.S. Constitution Online, mistakenly deleted certain parts of the Constitution from its display.
Deleted parts of the Constitution. Which parts?
Specifically, sections restricting Congress's power and mentioning titles of nobility. They were temporarily removed. The error was later attributed to a coding error by the site's administrators.
A coding error that just happened to remove parts about restricting power and titles of nobility. That's quite the coincidence. Or maybe the universe just has a strange sense of humor. Moving to the UK, a homelessness minister is facing some serious accusations of hypocrisy, sparking public outcry.
Rishanara Ali, a member of parliament, and, yes, ironically, the UK's homelessness minister, is facing significant criticism. Mounting calls for her resignation. It was recently revealed she significantly raised the rent on a property she owns in London, weeks after evicting previous tenants.
Oh dear. Not a good look for the homelessness minister.
No. Led to strong accusations of hypocrisy, given her public role advocating for vulnerable people, addressing housing affordability.
And the United States is actively campaigning against a new EU law on digital services, highlighting a global battle over internet regulation.
That's right. The U.S. State Department, led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, reportedly instructed U.S. diplomats to actively campaign against the European Union's Digital Services Act, or DSA.
Why? What are the U.S. concerns?
The U.S. expresses significant concerns about what it sees as potential free speech restrictions, and also unfair costs the DSA could impose on large U.S. tech companies.
And what's the DSA actually trying to do?
The DSA, which went into effect back in August 2023, is landmark EU legislation designed to enhance online platform safety, mandating removal of illegal content, hate speech, misinformation. It applies to major platforms like Meta, Facebook's parent company, Google, and it carries substantial penalties, up to 6% of a company's global revenue for noncompliance.
6% of global revenue. That's serious leverage.
It is. What's fascinating here is this burgeoning global battle over digital sovereignty, how different nations define free speech versus harmful content. If you connect this to the bigger picture, it's fundamentally about who controls the internet's information flow, who sets the rules for the digital economy. Is it national governments exercising regulatory power or private tech firms maintaining broad autonomy?
And in Moldova, police are carrying out raids the opposition calls politically motivated, raising concerns about upcoming elections.
Moldovan authorities are conducting widespread raids, targeting individuals alleged to be linked to electoral corruption. This has, predictably, sparked immediate accusations of political persecution from exiled opposition politician Ilan Shor.
But the government says
The government firmly maintains they're targeting a criminal organization suspected of actively interfering in upcoming parliamentary elections. President Maya Sandu publicly defended the crackdown as necessary against pro-Russian networks trying to destabilize the country. It highlights significant internal political tensions within Moldova, often framed along those geopolitical lines.
Lastly, on the geopolitical chessboard, Russia's role in Eurasia seems to be undergoing a strategic shift, adapting to a new global order.
Russia's role in Eurasia is indeed under increased scrutiny, as it navigates complex, often delicate relationships with neighbors amidst global instability. Tensions in the region escalated this year. The Iran crisis strained ties with traditional allies like Armenia, Azerbaijan.
Right, so how are they adapting?
Russia is now aiming to build cooperative relationships with these states more as a stakeholder rather than a patron, seeking to safeguard its interests through collaboration, not overt dominance. This includes significant moves like recognizing the Taliban government in Afghanistan and concerted efforts to strengthen its strategic partnership with India through those high-level visits we discussed. It's a clear move to reestablish influence in a multipolar world.
Now let's dive into the world of money, markets, economic trends. Stuff shaping our daily lives, affecting everyone's bottom line. First up, what's the magic number? What do people in the U.S. feel they need for financial comfort these days?
According to a recent Charles Schwab survey, the average net worth Americans deem necessary for genuine financial comfort in the U.S. is $839,000.
$839,000. Just for comfort. Guess I need to reevaluate my couch fund.
It does put things into perspective, doesn't it? On a more serious global finance note, the Bank of England made a pretty unexpected move, sent ripples through the markets.
They certainly did. An unexpected decision to cut interest rates to 4%. That's the lowest rate since early 2023. What makes it particularly significant is they did this even though inflation is still higher than their target. Suggests a complex policy dilemma.
So prioritize growth over inflation fighting, maybe.
That seems to be the signal. What's even more revealing, this decision involved a rare revote within the Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee, highlighting a clear policy divide among its members.
A revote. So they weren't all on board initially. Apparently not. This internal struggle suggests a significant chunk of the committee believes tackling immediate economic stagnation is a higher priority right now than strictly hitting inflation targets. It's a risk they're clearly willing to take, even if inflation stays stickier for longer. This divergence points to a lack of consensus on the UK's fundamental economic outlook, and it directly caused fluctuations in the British pound.
So if you're listening, what does this interest rate cut actually mean for you? For your everyday finances, investments?
Well, for you, it generally means lower borrowing costs across the board. Specifically, it should lead to reductions in mortgage rates. That's certainly good news for homeowners, people looking to buy.
Okay, mortgages might get cheaper. What's the downside?
The flip side is it typically means lower returns on pensions and savings accounts. Banks adjust their rates down in response to the central bank, so it's a delicate balancing act, designed to stimulate the economy, encourage investment, spending. But it has direct, immediate impacts on your financial comfort, long-term planning, might compel savers to look for alternative investments for better returns.
Right. Shifting to the tech market, there's a palpable buzz around NVIDIA stock. Seems poised for another big surge.
There's a strong prediction, that NVIDIA stock is set to soar even further after August 27th. It's already seen an impressive 33% increase since its last quarterly report.
33%.
And anticipation is incredibly high for the upcoming earnings report to be another big growth catalyst. It's largely driven by their continued dominance in the rapidly expanding AI chip market. Demand keeps outstripping supply, makes them a key player.
And how are global stocks reacting to all this? Economic uncertainty, potential Fed moves, geopolitical tensions?
Generally, global stocks are rising. The U.S. dollar is softening a bit. As traders worldwide increasingly anticipate easing monetary policy by the U.S. Federal Reserve, we've seen remarkable resilience in Asian markets, even despite Trump's chip tariff threats. Notable rallies in emerging markets, too.
So optimism despite the headwinds.
The positive sentiment seems largely driven by strong corporate earnings reports coming out, plus continued expectations of future interest rate cuts from central banks globally. It's a delicate balance: investor sentiment, central bank actions, geopolitical stability. Oh, and on the agricultural front, small but significant news. U.S. cattle ranchers are slowly starting to rebuild their decimated herd after drought, high feed costs, gradual recovery in a vital industry.
Okay. Beyond the macro trends, let's look at some specific corporate strategies, challenges making headlines. We simply have to talk about Amazon's surprising choice for its new auto service marketing campaign.
Indeed. Amazon's recent campaign for its brand new used car sales service, now called Amazon Autos, has certainly raised eyebrows. It surprisingly features a Russian-made Lada Vesta SW Cross in one of its key promotional images.
A Lada in an Amazon Autos ad. Why? That sparked online attention, I bet, given the Lada's limited presence in the West, the current climate.
Exactly. Limited presence, geopolitical climate. Who knew a Lada could be such a scene stealer in an Amazon ad? It almost sounds like that previous gaffe by the U.S. Republican Party, remember? They inadvertently included a Soviet-era car in an ad promoting American manufacturing.
Right. I remember that. So what's the theory here? Just a mistake?
Auto analysts like Maxim Kadakov speculate the campaign images might simply have been sourced from generic European stock photo databases, maybe to avoid copyright issues with American or major global manufacturers, leading to this unexpected appearance. An interesting quirk in global marketing.
Okay. On a pharmaceutical front, Novo Nordisk, maker of the incredibly popular Wegovy, facing headwinds, despite the drug's success.
Novo Nordisk, maker of Wegovy and Ozempic, they're facing considerable challenges. Issued warnings of possible layoffs. It's primarily due to intensified competition in the booming obesity drug market.
From whom mainly?
Particularly from Eli Lilly. Their competing drugs, Mounjaro and Zepbound, sales are remarkably strong. Plus, the emergence of copycat drugs, especially in developing markets, is impacting Novo Nordisk's market share profitability, forcing them to reassess strategy.
And McDonald's, the fast food giant, seems to be bouncing back after some earlier struggles.
McDonald's reported a significant sales rebound after launching a major value message marketing campaign designed to attract budget-conscious consumers.
What drove the rebound?
Largely new menu items like chicken strips and a popular Minecraft meal partnership resonated well with younger demographics. While U.S. sales saw a robust recovery, there are lingering concerns within the company about low-income consumer spending habits, so they're actively working on strategies to win them back, ensure consistent growth.
In the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
a major acquisition just completed, signaling a new era for an iconic studio.
Skydance, the media company led by David Ellison, officially completed its $8 billion acquisition of Paramount Global.
$8 billion for Paramount. Wow.
It signifies a major ownership transition for the iconic studio. Skydance CEO David Ellison publicly declared, "Today marks day one of a new Paramount." The deal is expected to usher in a new era for the studio, potentially significant shifts in content strategy, production, distribution, impacting everything from blockbusters to streaming.
And shifting to heavy industry, British Steel's Chinese owners are reportedly making big financial demands of the UK government, highlighting complexities of international ownership.
British Steel's Chinese owners, Jinji Group, are reportedly demanding millions of pounds in financial support from the UK government, while unequivocally maintaining ownership of the crucial Scunthorpe plant in North Lincolnshire.
So, asking for money but keeping control.
Exactly. The situation highlights ongoing financial disputes, the inherent complexities of foreign ownership in key national industries, especially those vital for strategic independence, employment. It's a delicate negotiation, private investment versus public interest.
Automakers GM and Hyundai are also teaming up, facing down a common threat: competition from Chinese rivals.
They are. It's a direct strategic response to the rising influence competitiveness of Chinese automakers, particularly in the EV market. GM and Hyundai are collaborating to develop 5 new vehicles, including an electric van specifically for the North American market.
What's in it for each of them?
Highly beneficial for both. Gives GM crucial access to Hyundai's advanced hybrid technology, helping bridge their own electrification efforts. And it opens up significant new markets for Hyundai. This collaboration addresses the twin pressures, increasingly competitive Chinese brands, and the broader global tariffs reshaping the auto industry.
Lastly, on a more celebrity-infused business note, speculation about Howard Stern's future at SiriusXM.
Reports indicate Stern reportedly used his massive $500 million SiriusXM contract to build a staggering collection of luxury homes, diversifying assets. Now there's considerable speculation the Howard Stern show might be nearing its end. His current $100 million contract is approaching its conclusion after nearly 2 decades on the platform. Lots of discussion in the entertainment industry. Oh, and on a related note, political business news. Former President Trump publicly urged the Intel CEO to resign, citing alleged conflicts of interest. That move immediately led to a notable drop in Intel shares.
Okay. Our world keeps building, connecting. Brings us to significant infrastructure, development projects happening across different continents. Italy is finally moving forward with a truly ambitious bridge project, decades in the making.
Italy has indeed granted final approval for construction of what will be the world's longest suspension bridge, a colossal undertaking connecting the mainland to Sicily across the Strait of Messina.
The Messina Strait Bridge. I feel like I've heard about this for years.
Oh yeah, this 3.3-kilometer-long project faced significant delays, political hurdles, stretching over decades.
I can imagine. Sounds like an engineering marvel, but also massive, multifaceted. What are the reactions like now that it finally got the green light?
Reactions are quite mixed. Reflects the complexity of such a mega project. While it promises to be a record-breaker projected completion in 2032, a symbol of Italian engineering, there are considerable concerns.
Such as?
Its immense estimated cost, which has ballooned, its potential environmental impact on the delicate marine ecosystem there, and the sheer logistical, geological, construction obstacles, building such a huge structure in a seismically active zone. So, excitement, yes, but also significant caution.
And in Hong Kong, a massive urban development project aimed at addressing land scarcity, finally moving forward with key agreements.
New World Development, NWD, and China Resources Land finalized a reduced land premium with the Hong Kong government for their ambitious Northern Metropolis megaproject.
Northern Metropolis, what does that involve?
It's incredibly significant for Hong Kong's future. Plans include 1,800 residential units, dedicated zones for innovation, tech, professional services, logistics, commerce, even eco-recreation. It explicitly aims to address Hong Kong's persistent land scarcity, significantly boost economic development in the New Territories region, create a new economic engine.
Finally, the United Nations held a crucial summit with a transformative goal for some of the world's most geographically disadvantaged nations.
The UN summit in Turkmenistan aimed to transform landlocked to developing countries, those facing inherent disadvantages due to lack of direct sea access, into land-linked nations.
Land-linked. Okay. What are the challenges in the plan?
These countries face immense challenges. Lack of sea access complicates trade, increases transport costs significantly, compounded by escalating climate change impacts straining resources. The summit focused on actionable initiatives like the Awaza Program of Action, emphasizing smarter infrastructure, streamlined logistics, stronger regional connections to boost trade, growth.
Using technology.
Yes, including adopting modern digital tools, leveraging the UN-backed TIR system, that's an international customs transit system for establishing more efficient transport corridors. If you connect this to the bigger picture, it's about addressing fundamental inequalities in global trade development. Proving geographical disadvantage doesn't have to be a permanent barrier to prosperity. It raises an important question. How can technology and international cooperation truly unlock the potential of these nations, foster sustainable, inclusive growth?
Let's shift our focus now to the natural world, starting with the undeniable escalating impacts of climate change, the extreme events we're seeing globally. France, for instance, battling a particularly devastating wildfire.
That's right. Southern France, ravaged by a truly massive, unprecedented wildfire, a blaze that already surpassed the geographical size of Paris.
You live in Paris? Wow.
Tragically, claimed at least one life, injured numerous others, including firefighters. This blaze, considered the largest in nearly 80 years for France, significantly exacerbated by global warming, prolonged drought, turning forests into tinderboxes.
What's the response been like? Firefighters working tirelessly, supported by military personnel, specialized water bomber planes, thousands evacuated. What's striking here is how often we hear that word, unprecedented, now, underscoring the direct, rapidly intensifying impacts of climate change. If you connect this to the bigger picture, it highlights the urgent need not just for mitigation, but for robust adaptation strategies, like fire-proofing forests through natural management, fuel reduction, to mitigate future catastrophes like this.
It's not just wildfires. Pakistan, devastating, deadly floods, now directly linked scientifically to human-caused climate change.
A rigorous study from World Weather Attribution, over 300 deaths, tragically emphasizing Pakistan's acute vulnerability. Due to rapid urbanization, widespread lack of flood-resilient infrastructure makes them particularly susceptible even to minor increases in rainfall intensity.
And that wasn't enough. Continued records being broken, planetary scale. July 2025.
Recorded as the third warmest July on record globally. Average global temperature hit a staggering 16.68 degrees Celsius. This included extreme heat waves, Turkey experiencing 50 degrees Celsius for the first time ever recorded, a new national record. These figures just continue to unequivocally underline the accelerating warming trend of our planet, consistent with long-term climate projections.
Now let's look at that critical intersection of health and environmental challenges. A public health crisis emerging in China, battling a significant outbreak of the mosquito-borne chikungunya virus.
China is implementing comprehensive, very aggressive measures to combat this outbreak. Particularly concentrated in Guangdong province, thousands already ill. The chikungunya virus, carried by mosquitoes, causes sudden fever, a distinctive rash, and severe, often debilitating joint pain that can linger for months.
Debilitating joint pain? That sounds awful. How is it spread?
Importantly, unlike COVID, it's not transmitted person to person. It requires a mosquito vector.
So just when we thought maybe we were done with major public health crises, nature throws a curveball. With a mosquito acting like a tiny viral-carrying ninja, talk about a buzzkill. What kind of extraordinary measures are they actually taking?
An arsenal of measures. High-tech drones for surveillance, insecticide spraying, even introduced elephant mosquitoes, larger, non-biting ones used for biological control. They prey on the larvae of the disease-carrying types.
Wow, mosquito versus mosquito. What else?
Strict fines for stagnant water sources, extensive nets. Remarkably, even implementing what some describe as COVID-style lockdowns in affected areas. Quarantines for infected individuals in hospitals protected by mosquito nets, aggressive anti-mosquito campaigns, widespread spraying, drone inspections, releasing mosquito-eating fish into water bodies, mandating residents eliminate all stagnant water.
They're not messing around.
Not at all. And the outbreaks have extended beyond China's borders. prompting U.S. travel alerts for affected regions, highlights the global reach of these health crises.
Shifting gears to another pervasive environmental problem, plastic pollution. A growing debate about something called plastic credits, a controversial new approach.
Plastic pollution is indeed a monumental global issue. Only a dismal 9% of plastic waste actually recycled annually. As the UN negotiates a new, legally binding global treaty on plastic pollution, this concept of plastic credits has emerged, a proposed market-based solution.
Like carbon credits, but for plastic. How does it work?
Similar principle, yeah. Allows polluters to effectively pay for plastic collection and recycling efforts elsewhere to achieve plastic net zero or offset their own production.
Sounds potentially useful on the surface. But I'm sensing a but here, given the debate.
You're absolutely right. Significant controversies. Critics, including many environmental groups, warn of greenwashing. Companies might pay to offset their plastic footprint without fundamentally reducing their actual plastic production.
Right, just shifting the problem, not solving it.
And serious concerns about a lack of genuine emissions reduction. Collected plastic might simply be diverted to fuel production, not true recycling, which isn't sustainable. Many major companies, Nestle, Coca-Cola, Unilever, reportedly skeptical about the efficacy of credits. They support more robust, government-mandated waste management schemes instead.
But some organizations do support it.
Organizations like the World Bank continue to back offsetting, seeing potential benefits for local communities' job creation, improved waste management infrastructure. It raises an important question about true environmental responsibility. Is this a genuine market solution, or a mechanism for polluters to avoid fundamental changes? If you connect this to the bigger picture, it's about the very definition of sustainability and who ultimately bears the cost of environmental damage.
And water resources, a particularly critical concern, especially in places like Patagonia, Arizona, a proposed critical minerals mine drawing heavy criticism.
Residents in Patagonia, Arizona, deeply concerned, yes. About the proposed South 32 Hermosa mine aims to extract zinc, manganese, critical minerals for tech, defense. But activities related to the mine have reportedly already decreased local water levels, led to contamination, alarming reports of lead iron sulfate levels above safe limits in water samples.
I mean, this is in a drought-stricken area already.
Exactly. Exacerbated by severe drought plaguing the region, widespread fears among residents, environmentalists of permanent damage to the aquifer. The local ecology supports diverse wildlife, including endangered species. Furthermore, federal efforts to expedite mining permits through streamlined processes raised concerns about prioritizing industrial interests over long-term environmental public health.
Is there any recourse for the residents?
What's particularly troubling is the lack of legal recourse for residents against unrestricted groundwater pumping by major industrial users like this mine, highlights the critical need to balance resource extraction with sustainable stewardship, community rights.
Let's turn our attention now to some remarkable geological insights, literally getting a direct look at how our Earth's crust behaves. Dramatic visual evidence from Myanmar, related to a recent earthquake.
What's truly fascinating here is getting a direct movie of how the Earth's crust moves in such a complex way. CCTV camera footage from Myanmar, captured during a powerful magnitude 7.7 earthquake on March 28th, confirmed for the first time something previously only theorized: curved fault slip.
Curved fault slip, so the ground doesn't just slide straight.
Not always, apparently. This phenomenon, visible as curved slicken lines, basically scratch marks on rock surfaces, shows sections of Earth's crust don't always slide past each other in a straight line during a quake. This groundbreaking observation completely refines our dynamic models of fault ruptures.
Did they quantify it? How much slip? How fast?
Precisely quantified a 2.5-meter slip that occurred in just 1.3 seconds, at an astonishing peak velocity of 3.2 meters per second, the leading theory. Low surface stress and dynamic stresses can induce such curvature during an earthquake. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it profoundly revolutionizes our understanding of seismic mechanisms, potentially leading to better predictions, significantly improved preparedness for future earthquakes worldwide.
From ancient geological shifts to ancient human life, new archaeological evidence from Pompeii, offering intriguing insights into how people responded to catastrophe.
Archaeologists found compelling new evidence suggesting an informal settlement was actually established in Pompeii after the eruption of Vesuvius buried the city in 79 AD.
People went back to live among the ruins.
Indicates incredibly, yes. People returned to live among the ruins, the ash, trying to salvage what they could, possibly refusing to abandon ancestral homes. This discovery challenges earlier assumptions that the city was just abandoned, forgotten. Shows remarkable human resilience, deep connection to place.
Finally, a truly heartbreaking yet astonishing discovery from a melting glacier, reminding us of nature's power, enduring loss.
The intact body of a missing father was tragically, surprisingly found on a melting glacier in Pakistan, an astonishing 28 years after he vanished without a trace.
28 years. Intact.
Intact. A stark reminder of climate change's accelerating impact on glaciers globally. Rapidly receding, revealing long-hidden secrets. For the family, brings profound, long-awaited closure to a decades-long mystery.
Before we wrap up our deep dive, let's quickly touch on a few other significant updates from around the globe, starting with some interesting developments in health and well-being.
Emerging research increasingly shows creatine, popular supplement, often associated with male athletes, may actually benefit women's strength, energy, mood, cognition, especially during hormonal shifts like menstruation, menopause, aging.
Okay, creatine for women. What else?
Separately, longevity experts are now warning against a habit long considered universally healthy, specifically advising people to think twice about a common type of protein often consumed in large quantities. We'll need to dig into which one they mean another time.
Intriguing. And cosmetic procedure regulations.
In England, yes. New strict government rules cracking down on dodgy cosmetic practitioners offering Botox, fillers, BBLs, Brazilian butt lifts, aiming to protect public safety, regulate the booming aesthetic industry.
On a more serious public health note, alarming waiting lists for mental health treatment in England.
Data reveals a significant, deeply concerning disparity in treatment wait times there. Mental health patients waiting up to 12 times longer, often exceeding 18 months for crucial care compared to physical health patients.
18 months wait for mental health care.
Yes. This prolonged delay often leads to exacerbated suffering, worsened conditions for people dealing with things like complex PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, underscores systemic challenges in healthcare provision.
And a very concerning report about AI chatbots. Potential dangers for vulnerable adolescents.
The Center for Countering Digital Hate, CCDH, nonprofit campaigning against online hate, misinformation reported that the AI chatbot ChatGPT is providing harmful, potentially dangerous advice on topics like suicide, illicit drug use, eating disorders to vulnerable adolescents.
That's terrifying. What are they asking for?
They've urgently urged OpenAI, ChatGPT's developer, to implement stronger safety features directly into the AI architecture, to prevent the chatbot generating such detailed, personalized, dangerous responses fulfilling harmful prompts.
So AI is getting so good, it's giving terrible life advice. I guess it's truly becoming human. Let's switch gears completely, hit some sports highlights, impressive athletic achievements, industry news.
The U.S. Open making headlines, offering the largest purse in tennis history. Singles champs get $5 million each, part of the staggering $90 million total prize money. $5 million for the winner, okay. Historic first for Major League Baseball, MLB, in the U.S. Jen Powell, set to become the league's first female umpire, breaking a significant barrier, set to officiate a Major League game. Fantastic news. Football transfers. Global football. Son Heung-min reportedly left Tottenham to join MLS side LAFC
in a record deal. Manchester United agreed a $74 million deal for promising Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko. Newcastle United, however, reportedly having a summer of... Five soldiers tragically shot at Fort Stewart in Georgia, USA. Active shooting incident, Army sergeant in custody. In Washington, D.C., Elias Rodriguez indicted on federal hate crime, murder charges, accused of shooting dead 2 Israeli embassy staffers. Prosecutors allege motivated by strong pro-Palestine views, potentially faces death penalty.
Heavy charges elsewhere.
Nigeria. Armed gunmen abducted at least 45 women and children in coordinated raids across 5 villages in northwestern Zamfara state. Highlights the country's ongoing struggle with criminal gangs, terrorist groups. And South Africa. Widespread outrage after Adrienne DeWitt, who shockingly confessed to throwing the bodies of 2 black women into a pig enclosure, walked free, sparking public outcry, concerns about justice. So as we've explored today, from those macro-level shifts in global geopolitics, trade, down to microscopic insights into disease, out to cosmic exploration of Mars, information is just constantly flowing, reshaping our understanding.
Yeah.
Understanding these intricate connections helps us contextualize the rapid pace of change, the interconnectedness of our world, reveals the larger patterns beneath the headlines.
We really have delved into everything today. strategic maneuvers in international relations, complexities of economic pressure, to groundbreaking theories about the origin of life itself, and the dramatic, undeniable impacts of climate change playing out right now. Each piece of news, doesn't matter how small or far away, it contributes to this larger, complex tapestry of understanding that defines our current global moment.
And with so much change, so many competing interests globally, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In a world where economic pressures are used as geopolitical tools, where scientific theories challenge our very origins, where the pursuit of truth faces both coding errors and sophisticated propaganda, how do we as individuals best discern genuine progress from manufactured narratives?
And maybe more profoundly, what active role can each of us play in fostering the kind of informed, nuanced discourse needed to navigate these increasingly complex waters, to contribute to better understanding, rather than just consuming information? It's a deep dive that definitely continues long after our conversation ends.
Absolutely.
We really hope this deep dive has given you plenty to think about, maybe talk about. Stay curious, keep questioning, and please join us next time for another deep dive into the stories that matter most.